Benchwarmers Podcast. I am Casey Coggins here with Alvin Hubbard.
We back.
And Andrew Lara.
Hello, hello.
Another Tuesday, another day to talk about the disaster that is the Cleveland Cavaliers season. It's been like the biggest roller coaster season that I can recall, just from everything. People are like not still complaining about them trading Kyrie for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance, essentially, when, I mean, in the middle of the season, it was Isaiah Thomas, and then they got rid of Isaiah Thomas, and now they're in the NBA Finals, and they held their own in Game 1, held their own for most of Game 2, and then got Curry bombed in the fourth quarter of Game 2.
For the rest of the game.
Man, I kept seeing tweets and analysts talking about, like, when Curry gives the ball up, play's not over. Like, your job isn't done because he's sprinting to that corner. And I don't know how many times I need to see a damn moving screen by the person who passes the ball to him. Like, Jordan Bell, like, drop it between his legs for Curry and then immediately, like, walks 4 feet with the defender.
I don't even know what's a moving screen anymore.
I've seen so many where they start the screen like 3 feet outside of the 3-point line at the top, and they're still making contact with the defender at the free throw line.
Following them.
Yeah. I gave up.
I don't think there is one anymore. Ever since the Warriors made their little... Well, ever since they took that last step to win their first championship, there is no more moving screens. I mean, that championship proved it.
It has to be blatant where you, like, take the guy off of his feet.
How much more blatant does Draymond Green have to be?
Like, I remember this started with KG and the Celtics.
Like, it's so weird because there's a difference of a guy kind of like a Zaza Pachulia moving screen where it's like he's standing still, and then all of a sudden a guy's coming around the screen and he slides out a little bit and kind of hip checks the guy. And that gets called for a moving screen. But I can sit there and I can have my like arms crossed and like kind of making a shoulder, like a chest block.
Yeah.
Like a
elbows upside to side.
Yeah, like an offensive.
You just be leaning like a shoulder.
It's like an offensive lineman running out for a screen pass. And
you'll put your elbows up and then you just move the defender and just like, all right, cool, like that's good, you got it, Draymond.
But everybody does it too, because even from the Cavs side, they do the same.
Tristan Thompson is good at the hey, I'm just in the way. Don't worry about me. I'm cool.
Excuse me.
Pardon me. Excuse me.
Passing through.
That's Tristan Thompson walking through the dance floor. Oh, excuse me. Don't mind my drink. I didn't mean to spill it on you, baby.
I wasn't cheating on you, babe. I was just shimmying on pad.
But let's get down to the real root of the NBA Finals.
The nitty-gritty.
The end of Game 1.
The J.R. Smith.
God damn.
Not even the J.R. Smith. The block charge call. The
ejection.
The ejection. The missed call. The foul on Draymond Green on LeBron. I believe it was. Draymond should have been called for a foul on LeBron. That wasn't called. So instead of being up 2 when the Durant play happened, they could have been up 4 because LeBron would have had free throws. I mean, he could have made them. We never know with LeBron. His free throw form is awful. I hate his routine. Every time I watch it, it makes me cringe, almost like Tim Duncan's old one where he would, like, deep breath,
pigeon-toed,
hold the ball for like 9 seconds, and then right at the last second that you have, shoot the ball, and it was like line drive. Like, it's just I don't know why he rocks into it. He like rocks his right foot up and then stops and then bends into a shot. Like, there's no need for the leg movement. Like, the best free throw shooters you see get up there, stand just in regular shot like form, feet together or shoulder width apart, like right foot, left foot a little bit back, and then they just have a nice little rhythm of dribble, shoot. like Steve Nash, who's I believe still holds the highest free throw shooting percentage in NBA history at 91%. He would do his little like follow through practice strokes before the ball got to him. He'd catch the ball, dribble, shoot. That was it. He dribbled 3 times and shot the ball. There was no like deep breath, spin the ball, rock into the shooting motion, bend your knees down.
We're really getting into this free throw form.
Technical
free throw form.
I'm a shooter in basketball. Like I focus on footwork, elbow, like follow through.
Get your mechanics together.
The moral of the story is, if George Hill hit that last free throw, the Cavs would have been tied right now.
We wouldn't have to worry about J.R. Smith not knowing the score of the game.
Man, that was... and, like, watching it in real time, I think everybody was confused. Like, you're just...
Well, even LeBron James was, because when you saw the clip where he went to
that 3-minute video, that's just like... You see, him ask Ty Lue about the timeout, and he says, yeah, we had one, and he, like... I thought he was gonna Bobby Knight the shit. Just stand up, grab his chair, and
son of a bitch.
like that's just the vibe he gave off, and then
you just saw him there like with his arms crossed, like
he's gonna knock over Ty Lue and then step over him.
And then, token white guy Kyle Korver. Come on, guys! Come on, guys!
Still in there.
They were having none of it. George Hill, Jr.
Hey,
LeBron.
J.R. Smith, prosperous sitting next to him, but like after he gave that look, like J.R. was just like,
and
so
like
what's the play?
One, like, yes, that play happened, and what people who watched basketball in the 80s that were alive for that, a lot of them noted, even Magic Johnson did it. Like, even the greatest point guard of all time,
Mr. Free Throw,
dribbled the ball out, like dribbled the clock out in a tie game instead of getting a last shot up because he thought they were ahead.
Well, it even reminded me of when
but at the same
Webber
time they were getting
against
drunk.
North Carolina,
Yeah.
calling the timeout when they didn't have one.
Yeah.
But
back
see,
in the Magic Johnson days, like, they were drinking in the locker rooms.
Had a little.
Now they take swigs in between quarters.
Back in the Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal Pacers days, they were drinking in the locker room.
Yeah,
like it's not just the 80s. Like, they were doing this in like 06.
I mean, they even went up to the stands to have a couple drinks with the.
They got so hyped they were pouring drinks on people.
See, yeah, I thought they went up to thank the fans for giving them a free beverage because it looked like Ron Artest needed a breather. He was laying on the scorer's
and then the guys
table.
were like, "Here, take mine."
Are you thirsty?
And then Jermaine O'Neal's like, "Pound it." God damn.
But yeah, so like it's game 1 was a mess. And you could just tell once overtime started that Cleveland was done.
They were deflated after that.
They did, because I don't even think JR probably makes the layup if he tries to shoot it because of how close Kevin Durant was to him. And, the pressure, like that was the stakes and the pressure of that moment partially probably caused him panicking and not knowing the score and doing what he did. And George Hill, same thing. The situation caused a missed free throw. Like, more than, because George Hill's a good free throw shooter.
He's at 80%, yeah.
I mean, that's good.
But how light did he get at the free throw line? I mean, he's already a light skinned brother.
You could have questioned if he was actually a white guy.
Oh my god.
He went Michael Jackson on them.
That was Sammy Sosa.
Bleach skin.
Looked like a ghost. And I was surprised he made the first one. Like, when I saw him get the ball at the free throw line for the first of the 2 free throws, I was like, he's gonna miss both, and they're gonna lose this game because he's not gonna make these free throws.
When it showed his face when he was shooting, when he went up for the second one, I was like, he's gonna miss it.
And
he did not want it. He did not want part of that.
In situations like that, you typically leave it short because you kind of you're timid. You're so scared to miss that you don't shoot the ball the same way you normally would, and you short arm it. You don't get your legs into it, and you miss it short, which he did. Like Kevin Durant. He's another one, got off the hook. He had a terrible game one. He didn't want any part of LeBron. And he gave up that rebound to J.R. Smith,
which is how, because J.R. if you look at it, J.R. Smith is behind him when he got the ball,
and a foot and a half smaller.
I initially thought, why isn't LeBron there? And then I thought about it more, so I want to see where y'all's thought process would be. Like, what do y'all think about LeBron not being on the free throw line, to get a rebound?
He was thinking to play ahead, get the rebound, and he was going to either be the guy that leaks out, catch somebody that's leaking out, or he was waiting for the kickback three. I think he just wanted to shoot. He wanted to shoot the jump shot three.
Well, so you go to you're having George Hill go to the line expecting him to make both of them. But still, if there's a chance of him missing it and there's only 4.7 seconds left, it's shades of 2013 and not having Tim Duncan on the free throw line. If LeBron James gets that rebound, you know what's happening? He's dunking all over Durant. There's no question about it. He's going up strong and he's going to dunk on Durant, and we don't have this discussion. So I thought, maybe, why wasn't LeBron there? And it kind of goes to your point. There's 4.7 seconds. If George Hill makes that free throw, it's a 1-point game, and they have Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and you're expecting Klay or J.R. Smith to guard them in a transition scatter defense.
Nope.
With LeBron having to come back all the way.
He's playing safety.
So yeah. So the more I thought about it, the more I realized, it's probably the best place to have LeBron is he can, if they don't call a timeout, and I don't know what their timeout situation was. I don't know if they had one. But
you know who did have one? Cleveland.
Well, and LeBron does kind of call for a timeout. The ref isn't looking. He realizes, oh shit, we might not have one, and so instead of really going after and trying to get that timeout, he immediately backs off, thinking that, hey, they
don't want to get technical.
Yeah, because that would imagine if that had happened, if they didn't have a timeout and he tried calling a timeout.
And the Chris Webber part too.
Because
they lose on a technical free throw.
that would be worse than what J.R. Smith did.
Yeah.
Because if LeBron did something like that,
you think I'm gonna take that embarrassment?
Well, the embarrassment is also on him because he didn't even know that they had a timeout left.
I think
he thought so, but when they didn't give him the timeout, he questioned himself. Yeah. He's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I can be so sure of myself on something, at Starbucks. I've been there for almost 8 years. I know the policies inside and out. And so when I go and tell a tenured partner, another partner who's been there 5-6 years, hey, you're doing this wrong, and they're like, no, this is how we do it, I immediately go, oh shit, is this actually how we do it? Am I wrong? And so, I know I'm right, but then I get questioned, I'm like, oh shit, do I think I'm right? And I'm actually wrong? I question myself, and so I go to the policy to find out if I was actually right. 9 times out of 10, I was right.
Fool, I was right!
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
But you still kind of, you can know for sure what's going on, and then somebody questions it, and you're like, oh shit.
Makes you double guess yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe not. But that was just the end of game one. That's the last 30 seconds. The Kevin Durant, which was a block, that.
I said it was.
It wasn't a charge. I was rooting for a charge. Best believe when that play happened, I was like, charge! And they called a charge, and I was like, fuck yeah! And then I saw the replay, and I was like, that's a block. But they shouldn't have gone to the monitor, and I think it's one of those things where I just feel like you can't overturn that call, because I don't know. if y'all say the same thing, but I'm sure y'all have heard it, like, you don't want the refs to make the biggest impact on a game. I mean,
see, I would have thought that.
At the time, we didn't think what was going to ensued. We weren't going to think Kevin Love is going to foul Steph Curry on the layup like an idiot.
Smacked him across the face.
You weren't going to think that LeBron was going to get an easy path for a layup to put them up afterwards, and then George Hill at the free throw line and the J.R. Smith. Like, none of that probably happens if that call doesn't get reversed. So, but it's just like you don't want to be like, you don't want people to say, oh, well, if the refs wouldn't have gone to the monitor, which they shouldn't have, because the only way that they can go to the monitor is if they're questioning whether he was in the circle, the restricted area, and he was cleared 2-3 feet outside of it. But one of the refs on the other end saw Jeff Green's foot on the line, and he was like, hey, his foot might have been on the line, and so they were like, okay, now let's go to the monitor. When the ref that called a charge that had the best view of it should have told the other ref, hey, he wasn't even close. Like, it's not a question of whether he was in the restricted area. So it was bad communication by the refs, because they should have not reviewed it, which would have ended up them not overturning it.
I still don't blame the ref on that. I know, like, that looks bad, but point blank, the Cavaliers had 2 chances to win that game after that call.
Oh, yeah. I'm not blaming the refs for the Cavs' loss.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, there's people out there, too. They're like, oh, the refs are, like, blowing the game. And, like, I think that's throughout every, like, playoff game. You could find non-calls or calls made by the refs, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah,
easy.
And that kind of leads us into game 2, because with game 2, I felt like the Cavs were so close to getting over the hump. I mean, they ended up taking the lead in the game, but they would get like within 5 or 6, and then you would have a play like LeBron leaking out, them not calling the foul when there should have been a foul called. So they turn the ball over. It's not the free throws that it would have been. And then on top of that, they call a technical foul on Ty Lue, which ends up being, if LeBron makes the 2 free throws, it's a 3-point swing. Golden State then still has the ball, and I think they didn't score on the next possession. But it just kind of, there were calls throughout a game that changed the momentum of said game, where it's like you can't go back and say, oh, well, this call in the second quarter impacted the game. But in a vacuum, if that call was LeBron James' 3rd foul, like, that impacts the game, because now LeBron James is on the bench for the last 6 minutes of a second quarter. And that's a hypothetical situation, because LeBron never gets 3 fouls in a game. I think he's only fouled out of 2 games in his entire career.
Jesus.
But like, you can isolate individual fouls and how they impact the next 15 seconds. And if those next 15 seconds impact the game, then that one call did impact the game. So like a momentum play. For me, watching so many Spurs games, I always feel like when the Spurs play and Danny Green has an open 3, or it could be any Spur, but Danny Green seems to have the most open 3s on the Spurs, and he misses an open 3, I can almost assuredly say the team is going to come down and hit another 3. So you miss an open 3, the team comes back and hits a 3, and it changes the entire complexion of the game, because the Spurs might have been up 3 and it put them up 6, but instead of making the 3, and they give up a 3, and now it's a tie game.
I just feel this is karma for him about the whole foul calls and stuff.
Karma for who?
LeBron James.
What about it?
Because how many times he was the reason why he had a major call go his way because he's like the king of flop.
He's not the king of flop. That's Manu. Well, always and forever, Manu Ginobili.
All right, you want to keep.
There's plenty of kings. Manu, there's
James Harden, Manu 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
D Wade,
D Wade is definitely a better flopper than
CP3.
What? LeBron James started the new school of floppers.
No.
You can't. No. LeBron wasn't flopping until he went to Miami.
Exactly.
D Wade.
Who did he learn from?
Yeah, I was like, you can. He started it. No, he didn't.
Either way, the almighty flopper Vlade Divac is in Sacramento, and then you got Manu. Then I guess you want to put D Wade. Then we could put D Wade.
D Wade's up there. James Harden's up there.
James Harden's
Chris Paul's a very good
CP3,
flopper.
Yeah.
He's a very good flopper.
But that's what I'm saying. It's all coming back to Honda's ass now.
Well, but see, going on the opposite spectrum, like, yeah, LeBron will gripe about some calls, but how many times do you see a Warriors game where it's an obvious foul call? Like, you can sit there and be like, that's a foul call, and they look at the ref and why'd you call a foul on me? Iguodala, every single time he gets called for a foul, turns to the ref with his hands up.
You could find all players like that on any team.
But there are players, like Cavs have two players that might do it. Like, I feel like Tristan Thompson and LeBron James are the ones that are like, what
did I do?
J.R. Smith too. J.R. Smith overreacts. Like
when you have an entire team,
I think J.R. Smith does it because he actually doesn't know what's going on.
When you have an entire team that constantly is like, why'd you call a foul? Like, that wasn't a foul on every single play. Like, I feel like there should be some karmic relief on that one too.
Yeah, man.
There was one. It was when Draymond Green got suspended that game.
I was gonna say it might end up being somebody landing on Kendrick Perkins' shoe.
Just don't let it be Steph.
That's who I'm hoping.
Kenny Perkins has had the easiest trip to the finals this year.
Didn't he get picked up midway through or something like that?
Yes.
I don't think he's played a minute.
No.
But he suited.
I don't think he's even suited up.
He suited up because the game
to be
that
honest,
Love missed.
There were until this year there were two players who had made it to 7 straight NBA finals. LeBron James and James Jones.
James Jones. He followed him from Miami.
James Jones
come too, bro.
And you know that if Mike Miller's back wasn't as fucked up as it was, he would be there too.
Yeah, he would.
That's why they have Kyle Korver. He needs a white guy that can shoot the ball.
He needs the white 3-point.
Yeah, man. Braun was trying real hard to get Mike Miller to stay. Just like, bro.
Dude.
Cyborg. Come on.
I got vibranium, bro.
Wakanda forever, bro. Come on.
I mean, last time I checked, there were no white guys in Wakanda other than the one CIA agent.
Or what about the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, he was there.
Remember another broken white boy for her to fix?
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as I heard that, I noticed. I was like, remember that line.
Yep. Yep. Didn't they? Didn't they show him at the end of the movie, the after credits scene?
Yeah. They showed Bucky with just one arm, just like
he comes out the tent or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I finally caught up on all my Marvel movies.
Leave that white boy alone.
God, just Game 3 tomorrow night. It's funny because I feel like I took more positive out of the Game 2 loss from Cleveland than the Game 1 loss.
Really?
Even though it was a large
because that Game 1 loss left like a bad taste in your mouth.
Well, it was and it was LeBron having to do like more than typical LeBron stuff. Like Game 2 was a typical LeBron game where you get 35, 12, and 9.
But you got to step up another level.
Instead of him having to go 51, 8, and 8. So he can do that, and that kept them in the game. J.R. Smith was terrible.
Dude,
He was terrible.
Do you believe in benching him for Game 3?
I completely would bench him. I would start Kyle Korver.
But Kyle Korver just...
I would, because...
You wouldn't start Kuzma? I mean, not Kuzma.
Who's got better defense? No. Who's got better defense? Kyle Korver or James Harden?
Kyle Korver. Well, no.
Nope. The fact that you have to think about it says a lot.
No. Well, so
not Korver now.
Korver puts forth a great effort, and defense is mostly effort. But James Harden
He'll take a couple steps. James Harden will just put his arms out like, no.
The difficult thing is James Harden is a really good post defender.
James Harden's the matador. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You could go by.
But if they're posting him up, like LaMarcus can't gain any ground on Harden posting him up because of how strong
is soft.
Well, because of how strong Harden is. Draymond Green and Kevin Durant were having tough times posting James Harden up. Like James Harden has above average post defense skills. So
above average.
Oh
wow!
Okay.
Like statistically, he is an above average post defender. And this is him getting switched on to guys who are centers, like Karl Anthony Towns. Like, he can guard Karl Anthony Towns in the post.
What?
I mean, they have the ability to turn around and fade away and shoot, but they can't just...
Jury's still out.
I gotta pay attention next year.
Next podcast, I'll make a note of it. Next podcast, I will pull up James Harden's post-defense statistics.
When the Rockets play Minnesota next year and Cat is still on the squad, if I see Harden on him in the post, I'll pay close attention to that.
So that's the only reason I'm like, oh, I don't know who's the better defender, because if James Harden wasn't as good as a post defender as he is, I would easily say Kyle Korver is a better defender. But like I say start Kyle Korver because you're at home and you might be able to throw him out in the starting lineup to be able to knock down 3 threes in the first quarter, because that was really what Brian Windhorst, I was listening to him on I think Will Kane show today. He was talking about how like the Cavs were one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league all season, and they were terrible in Game 2.
They've been terrible in the playoffs.
Like Jeff Green, he looked like he didn't want to shoot a 3. J.R. Smith needs to be benched. But like George Hill had a good game too. He was the only good shooter in Game 2 for the Cavs. Kevin Love was their second leading scorer, and he didn't shoot the ball well from 3. He didn't shoot the ball well from 3 in Game 1. I think he had 22 in Game 1, and he was 1 of 8 from 3. So they need to find somebody who can make some shots. Rodney Hood. He's a taller, lankier J.R. Smith at this point.
Man, but he's so deep in the doghouse, I don't know if he's getting out.
Ty Lue today said that Rodney Hood was probably looking at some extended minutes in Game 3.
They do play better at home too.
Yeah. And then I forgot who else I was listening to, but they made a good point about Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson needs to not worry about his offense. He needs to not care if he scores a point. His sole purpose when he gets minutes is to not let Steph get cooking. And yes, easier said than done.
That's Kevin Love.
But Kevin Love is a 6'11" power forward / center. Jordan Clarkson is an athletic point guard. Like, putting those two on the same pedestal is completely different. You don't expect Kevin Love to be able to hang with Curry.
If you can say James Harden is an above average post defender, I can say Kevin Love got cooked.
Well,
Kevin Love did get cooked.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. Kevin Love got cooked, and
But it's just like, what do you expect?
Yeah,
Do
Jordan.
you expect a better outcome?
Jordan Clark.
I expected what I saw.
Jordan Clarkson needs to be able to be on the floor for those 8 minutes and not be a minus 15.
Good luck.
That's made up numbers.
That's made up numbers.
He was. I'll pull up his plus minus, but he was on the floor for 8 minutes.
Plus minus ain't real.
And he was terrible.
Anyways,
Texicali is pretty good.
right, it is pretty good. It's got that, I don't know, I got like a chocolate taste out of it.
You do, right? I was thinking.
It's real faint, but
Come on, phone.
Kind of remind me a little bit of a Guinness taste, like at the faint chocolate taste.
The stout, like a kind of a... All right, let's look at these statistics.
Statistics, okay? So they're real.
I don't know fucking real numbers, plus or minus. I'll write down a plus and a minus. Look at that. Don't say shit.
Jordan Clarkson had 2 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, was 1 for 4 from shooting, and 1 turnover, 1 foul. He was only a -4, but I think he was on the court towards the end of the game. But yeah, he played 8 minutes and had 0 impact on the game.
Negative impact, as you could say.
Yes.
Well, 0 impact. You can't have negative impact. You get negative impact if you let them score.
One guy, 2 guys.
Like you just stand just
2 guys.
James Harden it. So
And this kind of goes to the point that plus minus isn't a good stat to go off of.
like I said, it ain't real.
It's real.
Didn't say
It's
it
not
wasn't real.
But it doesn't tell the whole
You know how
story.
you know it's not real? It's because they have to add the word real plus or minus. They're trying to make you think it's real. You know it ain't real. The only reason you think it's real is because it says real.
But
Get out of here with all
Reverse
that.
psychology.
So-
Yeah, exactly. Well, it says real plus or minus, so it has to be a real number.
plus minus is hard to go off of because it doesn't tell you the whole story. Because there were 2 guys on the Cavs that had a positive plus minus. Ante Zizic was a +2 in 3 minutes, and Jose Calderon was a +2 in 3 minutes.
Don't mean shit.
Garbage
Put them in
time.
the game.
Fake
Put them in the game, coach.
I actually think when I saw that Jose Calderon was on the court at the end, I was like, that'd be a good wrinkle. They had like a 15-4 record when Jose Calderon was starting for them. Like he led the league in assists for a year. He can knock down threes. He tries defensively. Like he might. That's what the Cavs need. They need guys that will fight. They will, because to guard the Warriors, you don't need great defenders.
Can throw different looks.
You need guys who won't give up. Because you'll watch a Warriors play, and you'll see all the off-ball cutting that they do, and J.R. Smith will think that Tristan Thompson's going to switch, and then it's a miscommunication, and now Klay Thompson's wide open for 3. You see what I brought up earlier. The Steph Curry passes it to the big man, cuts to the corner, and the guy falls asleep, and they pass the ball to Steph, and now he has an open corner 3. So they need guys that will say when they're guarding a guy, they're not going to ever think that their job is done until they have the ball.
Just keep rotating until you get Draymond Green with an open 3 and have him shoot it.
Yeah, and that's knowing the personnel on the court is another thing that the Cavs had an issue with in Game 2, is they were closing out on Draymond. And he waited, and then they closed out on him, and he passed the ball away and got the ball going again. Like, just let him shoot. If he goes 5 for 5 from 3,
I'll die with that. I'll live with that.
Yeah.
But if Steph does what he does, that's why I pitched my idea of just goaltending the shit out of his threes.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not sure if it's going in, like, you need to, once they see that ball go in Oracle, it's just a different game now. They play that stupid club music on the defensive side, and the crowd gets into it.
Which is crazy because they're all fucking nerds. They're all goddamn Silicon Valley nerds.
That's the Bay. They ain't no Silicon Valley nerds.
You know, no one in the Bay can really afford those seats.
Paying for those tickets.
Right. Get the fuck out of here. That's the Bay. No, that ain't the Bay no more. That's Silicon Valley.
I think I get paid decently for the bills that I have. I'm not about to go to a Spurs playoff game anytime soon. And this is San Antonio.
But you acted like you've never been to a Spurs playoff game.
I went when the tickets were cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay,
I go when they're on special. I can get tickets for like $75. I'm cool. I'll take it.
When I went
but this is San Antonio. This ain't the Bay.
When I went to the Warriors games, the first year that these Warriors were making a name for themselves, it was the last year of Mark Jackson. The tickets I bought were nosebleeds, $50 a piece. Nosebleeds now for a playoff game in the Spurs are like $120. I ain't about to pay that. I'm not about to.
As he whispers it, I ain't about to pay that.
I'm not about to spend $260 after fees.
Listen,
to go to a playoff game anymore.
That ain't me, Cheryl.
So best believe that the team that's won 2 of the last 3 titles, about to win the 3rd out in 4, those playoff tickets are probably a lot more expensive than going to a Spurs playoff game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
More, yeah, 100%. It's a lot.
So, what do y'all think the Cavs need to do to make this a series?
Win.
They
score.
They definitely have to win, because if they win, it's 1, 2, 3 Cancun time.
Banana boat.
I think it's 1, 2, 3 Cancun regardless.
D-Wade's gonna be sitting there on the boat.
D-Wade's waiting.
Inflating that banana boat like, my boy's coming back.
Him and CP3 already on the yacht.
Man, can't forget Melo.
Thursday afternoon,
Melo forgot about
TMZ's gonna have a breaking news picture, and you're gonna see on one side D-Wade just pumping the one side up,
Old school bike pumps.
Yeah, Chris Paul on the other side. Let's do this, guys.
We're the 3 amigos back together again.
Banana boat back in action.
Anything actual that the Cavs need to do, because they definitely need to win. But what kind of strategy or what player do they need to implement to be able to change the outcome?
I just think they need to be more focused start of the second half, because it's
They won the third quarter.
They just need to come out strong.
But
game two, and at the start of the third quarter, they were down 10 at the end of half,
yeah,
and they cut it to like
they cut it
3.
to 5. They cut it to 5, but
and they won the third quarter. So it's not that they're not getting blown off the court in the third quarter. It was the fourth that really put the game away. The first 4 minutes, I would actually go the other side, that they need to be focused in the last 2 minutes of each quarter, because before the half in game 2, they were right there. It was a close game, and then all of a sudden Golden State goes on a run to put it to go up the 10 points before half. And the same thing with the third quarter. Like, the Cavs had pushed it, and they got close. I think it was the third quarter where they took the lead, and then the last couple minutes of the third ballooned the lead for the Warriors again.
I just it's just too much for one person to take, because you're LeBron. You're expecting him to average 50 points a game to even give him a chance to win.
Well, that's why I said
a typical LeBron James game, you're not winning it.
But that's why I was saying, you should expect a typical LeBron James game, but who needs to be the guy that comes in and knocks down shots? Is it J.R. Smith?
Definitely not J.R. Smith.
Does J.R. Smith need to? Because he hasn't been good in any of the finals.
Yeah, he just needs to.
His
chances are up.
the finals that they won, he wasn't very good in.
I think it's somebody like Kyle Korver and Jeff Green. Like, they play better at home if
Maybe
they...
Carl Korver's good, too.
Kyle Korver.
Yeah, Carl Korver, man. Shit,
Yeah.
you said Carl Korver is Kyle's other brother. Nobody really knows about him.
They play better at home, so if they're making their threes, I think it's...
they just did a Sports Center featured on Kyle Korver because his brother just passed away, so everybody knows about the brothers.
Yeah, I know, but everyone seemed to forget about Lil Dicky Ball, too, but we needed another Sports Center thing for that.
Yeah, I really think that Ty Lue needs to shake it up, and it's like, if I was Ty Lue, I would really go to JR and be like, look, JR,
you're done, son. You're fucking done.
Take your soup and leave.
I wouldn't phrase it that way, but I would phrase it in a way like,
Shit's weak.
I'm going to have you come off the bench because I want you to be like, you spin it to make it a positive, like a Manu positives, like, hey, you're good enough to be a starter, and I know you're starting, but if you come off the bench,
you're gonna energize the bench.
You're gonna be even better.
Do you say it by serving him a ramen bowl like, here, JR?
Tortilla soup. That's what it was. I mean,
with J.R. Smith, you want to give him like a glass of Henny.
No, you wouldn't want to give him a glass of Henny.
That's how you make him feel better, dog. Anything is possible. It's the Henny guy.
JR, here's a bottle of Henny.
He's just gonna be walking around with no shirt for like a whole week.
Come off. If it makes him shoot better, play with no shirt.
Dude.
Like, we don't care.
Nello plays better with a hoodie. You play better with no shirt. Everyone has a
JR, just get the jersey, get the Cavs and the number 9 tatted on you. That should be good enough. We might be able to see it through all the other tattoos, but
God damn it. Bro, they know what you look like already. It doesn't matter. You don't even need a jersey.
We've seen you without the shirt so many times already.
When one guy is running the opposite way, we'll know it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Levitard the next day was killing JR, and he goes, I don't even put it past JR that he was going to the other basket for a fast break, and when he saw LeBron like pointing the direction and freaking out, he like put the brakes on and was like, oh shit, I'm going the wrong way. Like, it might not have even been a score thing. It was he was going to the other basket to try to score because the way he's just sprinted out to half court.
The whole LeBron like stuff too, like, what are you doing?
the eye roll, the like head movement that LeBron did, the whole
part where he was like, I thought we was up, and he was like,
the whole thing
really.
Let's be up more.
30 years from now, we're gonna be watching an NBA Finals game, and we're gonna like sit there and we're gonna just do a. You remember when J.R. Smith thought that they were ahead and they dribbled out to half court? That was funny. Remember when the greatest player of all time freaked out because he thought he didn't know that they had a timeout and he tried to call a timeout?
And then the coach did confirm they did have a
no
timeout.
comment on that.
No, I heard it. I wasn't even going to acknowledge you. I was like, I'm not going to give you that.
Because he's not the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to say it.
30 years from now, we'll probably be saying it.
Nope.
They're going to go down 3-0, and then they're going to do the first 3-0 comeback in NBA history against this team.
I would love to see that.
He already did the first 3-1 comeback.
He's going to be dragging his body across the floor, bro.
He doesn't have anybody that can...
Jose Calderon, where you at? Come back to life.
That's not even a sure bet. Like, that's wishful thinking.
He needs somebody else to score 40 points with him.
He needs somebody who, can arguably be called the greatest ball handler in the league.
He needs Boogie Cousins.
He needs a guy who can shoot threes.
And then they're going to be complaining about fouls together.
Yes.
So I think that should end our little finals discussion because I think we all had it, Warriors in 5.
Yeah.
I still give it a 5, yeah.
So one of these two games...
Just because they don't want to celebrate in Cleveland.
One of these two games, the Cavs will win. with the series kind of looking like it'll end by the next time we record. I think that's how the days break out. Where's LeBron James playing? Don't break it down. Just give me a team next season.
Philly.
You say Philly?
Philly.
LA.
There are 2 LA teams.
I know. It's the best bet. Come on.
But specifically, which LA team?
The Lakers.
I don't see it.
I say the Lakers too. As much as I want to say San Antonio, I was thinking about it on the drive home, listening to ESPN San Antonio and hearing James Pledger do the Sports Center updates, and he's like, Danny Green has a player option for 2018-2019, and he's still unsure about what he's going to do with it. I'm like, come on, Danny. Be a team player. Opt out. Sign for a couple million a year. Open up some salary cap. Give Kawhi the max. DeJounte, Danny, get on your recruiting shit. Bring LeBron to San Antonio.
Well, Kawhi's getting it regardless. He's going to get offered at least.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, having Kawhi here and finding a way to work a salary cap around getting LeBron too, and having LeBron, Kawhi, and LaMarcus.
Oh, if he goes to the Lakers, that's telling me LeBron wants a break from the NBA Finals. That's his Michael Jordan retirement, going to play baseball. Because if he goes out to the West,
you do realize how good and young the players on LA are right now.
And don't forget, they're getting Paul George at the same time.
That's not for sure.
It's Paul George to the Lakers is more. I'm more sure. I'm more sure.
That's not. Nobody knows that. Get the fuck out of here.
Because Houston's going to throw him cash.
Do you know where the guy is from?
I know where he's from.
Do you know why there's rumor that Kawhi's going to go to LA?
Because I know where he's from.
Do you know why there's rumor that Clay is going to go to LA?
Because where he's from, we know this.
Yes.
But is he really going to leave Golden State?
Paul George is not from Houston.
I know he's not from Houston, but that doesn't mean Houston's not going to throw him money.
He doesn't give a shit about money.
They're going to throw him money.
He's getting money wherever he goes.
And it's going to miss like him in the playoffs.
You know what? You know the thing about Houston throwing money is everybody else can offer him the same amount.
Yeah, but you're going to Houston compared to the Lakers.
There's I believe there are 7 teams that will have cap to offer teams or offer players a max deal. One of those teams has enough cap to offer 2.
Yeah, the Lakers have enough to offer 2. Yeah.
They also have more assets than probably any other team outside of Boston with the young players that they have. Like, if they're going to...
It's an open market out there in LA, too, supposedly.
Nothing. It's like, same thing with Boston. It's like, oh, well, we want to pair Kawhi with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving next season with Al Horford. It's like, sure, have Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. Like, think of how talented those 2 guys are, and they're like castaways in the Boston. Like, Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma or Julius Randle could kind of just be like, hey, yeah, we can do a sign and trade. You can have these 2 guys, and we'll get LeBron. Thank you. See you later.
I see LeBron going to the Lakers with Paul George on the Lakers, making it to the conference finals.
Paul George is going to have to sign with the Lakers first.
Before
LeBron James ever signs with the Lakers.
Depending on...
Wait, say that again?
Paul George is going to have to sign with the Lakers first to persuade LeBron James to sign with the Lakers.
No. I think LeBron already knows that Paul George is going. Because you know what? Everybody fucking knows he's going.
Honestly, if big if, because I'm with Andrew on this, if Paul George doesn't go, I don't even think that matters to LeBron, because pair LeBron up with Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma and Julius Randle and the types of guys that they have on the Lakers already, plus the pick that they have in this draft, they are going to be good enough to beat the Warriors, because guess what?
What?
They already...
I didn't say that.
They compete with the Warriors with this Cavs team. This Cavs team is arguably his least talented team since 2007. And they almost stole game 1 on the road because of how good LeBron is. Now pair him up with a guy like Brandon Ingram, who's Kevin Durant 2.0. Probably not as good offensively, but a 6'10 guy. Pair him up with a Kyle Kuzma. Pair him up with Alonzo Ball, who as a playmaker and a defensive point guard. Like, the Lakers have the talent that you add LeBron to that piece. Like, add LeBron to those pieces, you will probably get a team that will beat Houston, that just took Golden State to 7. And they have a good shot at beating Golden State, especially with the rumor that this might be Steve Kerr's last year in Golden State.
But is Steve Kerr really even coaching?
That's the reason why. That's the reason it's arguably his last year.
Like Luke Walton was just standing there laughing with him at the same time.
Now, granted,
that's the coaching philosophy. It's just stand on and laugh. Come on.
We're having a good time.
But look at how human they looked all season because they didn't have the same kind of will to win. Like last year was his first year with Durant. They'd come off of that heartbreak, losing the 3-1 lead in the finals, hearing all the 3-1 jokes. Like, it's the reason why they won 73 games. When they are dedicated to winning, they win. They win a lot, and they win handedly. If they win this year, and they have Steve Kerr back, they're probably going to be more vulnerable than they've ever been because now Kevin Durant still has 0 championships, while the Warriors have 3 in the last 4 years.
Damn, the shade, bro. Shade. It's hot in Texas, I know, but the fucking shade.
But they have. What else do they have to prove when they win this one? So I could see them sleepwalking through the season next year, and Miami Heat.
Well, they said
Los
that they were
Angeles
sleepwalking
Lakers.
through this season,
And they were, and they were able to flip the switch in the playoffs. Luckily for a Chris Paul injury, they're in the finals. If Chris Paul doesn't hurt his hamstring, they lose to Houston. I wholeheartedly believe that. So we're not even having this discussion if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt. And so next year they have even less to prove. I can see a LeBron Lakers winning the Western Conference.
Especially since Houston won't be a problem. That window closed.
Oh, yeah, that's
Houston will
That's
be
out
its
of
own
there.
problem.
because CP3 is not going back.
Nope.
Ryan Anderson's deal is just murder. Well, let's get on to our Fire Dyer and Prophecies. We're already almost an hour in on our NBA Finals discussion, and we could probably go for hours more. I'm going to go ahead and go first on who's on fire. It's kind of a sarcastic one for me this week. Maria Sharapova, you're on fire.
Not because of her looks.
You were lucky enough to not have to get your ass beat down again by Serena, because that's just how it's gone after your first two meetings. The first two you won, congrats. But I think you have lost the last 10 in a row in like non-competitive fashion.
Man.
To the point where even Serena today or yesterday at the press conference said, "I like playing Maria. Her game matches up well with me." Pretty much saying,
I own her every time.
She can't beat me. So you get to the quarters because Serena had the pectoral issue. So you're on fire for me this week. Alvin, on to you.
Man, that was some heat.
Yeah,
I mean, it's rude. It's summertime in Texas.
Summertime in Texas, man.
Hot. My fire is my Seattle Mariners. Finally captured first place, up one game.
Up one game. Finally, first place. We're up by a whole game.
Yeah, man.
In June.
Mariners is not in the dumps.
Now let's. The beginning of June. Not
Yeah.
the end of June. The end of June is a different June.
What is it, June 5th?
June 5th.
June 5th, yes.
Seattle is up by a whole game.
Hey,
We're taking the pennant this year.
They are what? I think they're 14-5 since Robinson Cano got suspended for PEDs.
and they pulled that trade off at around the same time too.
Colombe.
Hey, my Mariners been down in the dumps for the past 2 years. Let me rejoice.
And it's funny because I feel like every offseason you hear, is this the year the Mariners make the playoffs?
Hey,
That's their highest hope. Is just, you know what? Let's just make the playoffs. You know what? If we can hit a wild card spot, that's an achievement for us.
Hey,
just getting back.
what
in
are the
playoffs,
hopes
man.
for the Rangers?
Hey,
Let's
man.
win 75 games.
Hell yeah.
Let's just try to win 75 games.
That's why the shade y'all be trying to come at me right now is just null and void because
It's cool.
y'all just
Rangers were
are
just
down.
there.
Alvin
How many years ago?
What, 2?
Alvin's
What? In the playoffs?
The playoffs, yeah. They
When?
won. They
2
won.
years?
They won the division 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, the division.
Yeah, they won the division 2 years
my
ago.
fault.
Want to say the same division as the Mariners?
Alvin sitting in the shade with one of those little Mister handheld spray fans.
This guy's just spitting fire at me. Can't really do anything else.
Gotta keep
Sorry.
it cool. Keep it cool.
Keeping it.
We're in first place right now. So it's beginning of June. We're in first place.
Eventually,
one of the best records in the
the
in the
Mister
league right
will the Mister will run out of water.
In summer, we'll eat the Mariners.
Summer is coming.
I was like, fuck you guys. Let me enjoy this.
It's all right. While y'all are down at the bottom, we're on top.
Cubs are.
I guess
Go on with your fire.
I guess enjoy it while it lasts. Maybe you'll make the playoffs still.
We can still
I
make
would-
the playoffs. Yes.
Maybe.
I mean, I have the Angels and the Astros in that division, so I'm really hoping the Mariners don't, so that I can see Mike Trout in the playoffs, MVP.
Hashtag not my MVP.
Come on.
Andrew, your fire.
My fire taking it away from all that. The Washington Capitals been pretty much dominating
handling business.
the
after
Golden
game
Knights
one.
in the Stanley Cup final.
And other than game one, where I think they were up by 2 goals in the second period, and they ended up losing 6-4. They've been dominating. The best.
The Knights have met their match.
The best line for the Golden Knights has been their 4th line. And if that's the case, you're not going to be in a close series because you need your starters, you need your best players to show up and make an impact. And so
I think
far,
you might get closed out tonight. Tonight's the game?
tomorrow
Tomorrow night?
They played the same night.
Tomorrow or Thursday.
I don't
think they play the same night as the NBA.
That's why I don't watch more hockey because hockey just lines up with the NBA.
Thursday.
It is Thursday. That's what I thought I saw. So follow up with your Dyer, Andrew.
My Dyer report's talking about CP3 going to be wanting a max from Houston, which
Nah, bro.
he's not coming back. That wink wink came with some stipulations that Houston might not match it. So I expect him to see in a different color jersey.
Black and silver.
Well, same.
No, not black and silver.
Same question that I posed with LeBron. If you don't see him in the same jersey, where do you see him?
Shit.
Because how many teams will be able to pay him? Now
Miami.
Now think about this. I was pitching a Bradley Beal, Boogie Cousins sign and trade deal so that the contracts match up and you get Bradley Beal playing with Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday and you get Boogie with John Wall. What if it goes the other way and it's a Boogie for Chris Paul sign and trade deal where Houston
Chris Paul goes back to New Orleans.
Goes back to New Orleans, pairs up with Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, and Boogie goes and plays with James Harden
and Clint Capella.
They'll probably have to throw Capella in the mix or move him.
And if maybe if you're Daryl Morey, you say, hey, look, I know you don't want to do this, but this gets you Chris Paul. Can you please take Ryan Anderson? please, can you?
You're not doing it for us. You're doing it for Chris.
Yes, you're doing it for your franchise. You're doing it for Anthony Davis.
Don't neglect your fans.
But yeah, that's really the mystery is where does if Chris Paul doesn't go to Houston, where does he end up?
Because he definitely wants to be a starter. He's definitely not. I don't see him coming off the bench.
And my best guess is I could see CP3 in Philly.
I didn't want to say it.
I can see him pairing up with Ben Simmons, taking some of the playmaking ability off of Ben Simmons' hands.
That means Ben Simmons is going to have to learn how to shoot the ball.
He's going to have to learn how to shoot the ball in general. And yeah, Miami is another good bet for a landing spot, but Miami's going to have to make a lot of moves because of the deals that they've made with Goran Dragic, Tyler Johnson, and some of the other guards. They just have too many guards right now.
I think Milwaukee will make a move.
Oh, that'd be
they
good.
Could.
That'd be good. Jabari Parker, like Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
And get...
Or even Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, get Giannis a point guard. And that's the same situation for Philly. Is like, yeah, you're getting a point guard, but your system is kind of based off of this big, tall freak of nature as your point guard. So it's tough. Like, I could honestly see Chris Paul going back to the Clippers because they have cap space and the only problem is the Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers kind of beef that was one of the reasons Chris Paul left. It'll be interesting to see. I'll follow that up with My Dyer, which goes back to Philly and their future fired GM, president of basketball operations, Brian Colangelo.
Squad of Americans.
Man, when that story broke, I'd seen a link to a Ringer story about it, like the mystery of Brian Colangelo, and I forget the columnist for the Ringer, like breaking it down on like these. He apparently had 5 accounts that he was linking to Brian Colangelo, so he called Philly and asked them about 2. Leaving 3 aside to see what they would say about 2 of them. And when they kind of gave him their answer, it was like, yeah, all 5 of these are him. If that's what they're saying about the 2, then all 5 of these are him. And like giving up medical stuff, like talking shit trash about Embiid. And I think Hinkie got fired
because of the same.
But before they got to draft Ben Simmons, right?
Yeah.
So these linked accounts to Colangelo were like raving about Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons is going to be so much better than Embiid, and all, like, everything was ranting and raving about the guy that he was able to draft because of what Hinkie did. That it's not cool, bro.
Totally not be cool.
Take your nice shirts and your like New York Mafia look and go home. Go play with Twitter later.
Poor man's
Embiid's all like,
I fucking lost the name.
Pat Riley.
Pat Riley was like, shit.
Embiid's all like, real men don't need burner accounts.
Embiid's like, I troll people under my name with a check mark next to it. Verified, bitch.
So yeah, it was just not a good look for Colangelo, and it's probably going to cost him his job. And like, you come from one of the most like renowned basketball minds ever in Jerry Colangelo, that now you just kind of you tarnish your own name, and people kind of question like your dad too, and it's just really, it was a really bad idea by a guy who probably doesn't understand how the internet works. Poor old people.
I was like, not many old people know how the internet works.
They don't know about hackers.
Leave it alone.
Some people don't know how to put videos on Instagram. I mean, shit.
Yeah. They start typing HTTP. I'm like, you don't need that.
They still write www.
Is .net good?
Do people still use .org?
How do I check my MySpace?
Have you been on 4chan recently?
Is that a serious question?
No.
I was like, because I haven't.
It's because 4chan turned into Reddit.
No. 4chan is like...
Still its own?
Yeah. 4chan's a little...
I think 4chan still
4chan
going.
turned a lot more conspiracy theory.
But I from what I remember seeing is a lot of the people who were on 4chan started using Reddit more because
Reddit was just more organized.
Yeah,
more organized. And I felt like it was
and they
faster.
have an app.
Yeah, so that's why 4chan kind of.
But 4chan's still a little Wild Wild West.
All guns are blazing.
There ain't no regulation.
All right, Alvin, who's in dire for you?
Tim Lincecum, 2-time Cy Young winner.
What is it? Freaky Deaky Tim or
yeah, something like that.
Timmy Jim.
I think this is like
commercial.
one of those like biggest falls from like
The fall from grace that he had.
yeah, because
That's non-PED related.
Dude, like
it's
shit.
just been strings of bad injuries after injuries.
2-time Cy Young, won the World Series.
Yeah, and then has not
Won
pitched since
2.
2016.
Won 2. He was with 11 and 13.
Shit.
13 when Bumgarner was.
Or not, what was it? Because they won the 3 and 5. Was it 11, 13, 15?
Yeah. Yeah, because they were only winning on odd number years.
No, because it was 09, 11, 13. Because 15 was the Royals beating the Mets. Because 16 was the Cubs. Yeah, so he won it in 09 and 11. And then 13
was Bumgarner. By himself.
Yeah, all by himself. Well, I mean, it's
No, we're still off.
God damn it.
I'm sorry. It's 10, 12, and 14. They won it on even number years.
Get it together.
I'm sorry. I had to make that right. It's 10.
I was like, I know it's all the same.
10,
or even.
10, 12, 14. Because 14. Because I was like, wait a minute. The Giants, or the Royals went back-to-back World Series, and they lost to the Giants the first year. Because of Bumgarner just saying, everybody on my back. Come on.
Yeah.
Ride the beer train.
Bought his wife a new cow.
And then broke his pinky.
But I do think it's like one of like the saddest like stories right now in baseball.
Because he was like...
Right now, it's ongoing, man. It's been happening.
Because he's one of those guys that you look at and you're like, growing up, like you can see a guy that's your size make it and win Cy Youngs, win World Series. It's like for me, if Johnny Manziel was to win a Super Bowl, I'd be like, that guy's like my size out there doing this. Like seeing, and that's why Steph Curry has become so popular, is because he's not, the 6'6", 6'8" physical freak of nature that you just have to be blessed to have that kind of stature and that the height and like athletic ability. He's a short guy who can handle the ball well and shoot from any angle. So you can see these guys like Tim Lincecum and you're like, I can do that because I'm only going to be 5'10". I'm not going to be 6'4". I'm not going to look like Noah Syndergaard out there or Justin Verlander
or Strasburg.
Yeah, these guys who just are dominating. Like I'm a tennis player. Like the best tennis players in the world are all 6'4". I'm 5'9" out there, so when I was watching David Ferrer go out there and beat some of these guys, I'm like,
you're rooting for him because
I'm like, that's me.
Yeah,
that's a Hispanic me. He had the hair too, the long straight hair and the headband.
God damn it, Casey.
Andrew knows what I'm talking about.
God damn it, Casey. Goddamn headbands.
So yeah, like Tim Lincecum, man, he was such a positive figure for tons of baseball fans because of his weird delivery and his just like electric personality.
Yep.
And now his career is pretty much over.
Yeah, I don't see anybody picking him up.
Like he barely got a chance with the Rangers. Nobody was signing him, and I think the Rangers were just like, shit. Did you know we needed a 5th starter this year?
God damn. You mean Big Sexy's not enough?
What happened to that Asian guy we had? Traded him last year.
Oh, yeah,
How's he doing?
Chicago.
He's terrible. Good call on that one.
Yeah.
So now let's prophesize for the people. Alvin, follow up. What you got going on this week?
My prophecy is we're going to make that 1 game into a 3-game lead because we got the 2-game series coming up with Astros starting tonight. Seattle going to win both of them.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I think I heard it was the Astros have a 2-game series with the Mariners. The Astros are going to send Dallas Keuchel out to the mound. The Mariners are going to send James Paxton. And I go, who the fuck is James Paxton?
Isn't he an actor?
I thought so. I think he was an extra in Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, the Mariners are on fire.
That's why they were on my fire.
Yeah,
with their 1-game lead.
It's not just because they have a 1-game lead. It's because they're actually winning ball games as opposed to losing them.
Well, yeah, you need to win games if you want a 1-game lead. Realistically, you only need to win 1 game.
True.
You should know about that since you're at the bottom.
Hey, started at the bottom.
You've been there for a while.
Yeah, we made it nice and cozy for you guys. we made sure we left the furniture.
Andrew, your prophecy.
My prophecy is right after the Astros finished their little 2-game series with the Mariners.
Their little 2-game sweep of the Mariners.
Yeah, they take that first place away from them. They're playing against the Rangers after that, and I got the Rangers beating the Astros in that series.
Of course you do. Of course.
Yeah.
Homer.
Because more than coming from the Seattle guy. The not Seattle guy.
I'm like, hey, I'm okay with homerism, all right? I do plenty of it. It's just you can't just be all Homer all the time. That's the thing. You have to spread the homerism throughout the year. I wait until the playoffs.
This is my first time getting to be a homerism for Seattle.
I know. I'm not
just because they've been bad for so long.
Exactly. So let me rejoice.
You've been hiding in the shadows.
I wasn't
is it safe to come out yet?
On your homer pick. I just was hating on your wrong pick.
Your false hope.
My prophecy is that Las Vegas is going to come back and take it to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Final. Stanley Cup final.
It's one. It's not plural.
It's the NBA Finals, but it's a Stanley Cup final. There's your fun fact. Did I just stump Casey right now?
Weird. It's so no.
It's so weird.
I knew that. But it being a multiple game series, it's like, and then you have the NBA Finals, which I'm so used to saying, and it's the Stanley Cup Final. But Vegas will take it to a Game 7. I would pick who I think is going to win the series, but you'll have to wait till next week, seeing as how Game 7 is Wednesday. So that concludes another episode of the Benchwarmers podcast. We will be back again Tuesday, 7 days from now. Same time, same place. My office.
Here, right now.
I'm Casey Coggins, and I'm always joined by Alvin Hebert,
Daytona,
and Andrew Lara.
See ya.
I was expecting yay out of them. See you next week.